Where the Crawdads Sing is one of the most popular books in the last 5 years. It's a literary fiction piece that studies a girl named Kaya as she lives in the marsh and is considered an outsider by the people in her town until she finds herself at the center of a murder trial that will kind of prove how much of an outsider people want to believe that she is. It has this To Kill a Mockingbird element that has made the book so addictive. But now with a major motion picture adaptation, do those same themes, storylines, and sentiment get translated to the screen? That's what we're here to talk about today. Hey y'all, today I'm going to be reviewing the Where the Crawdads Sing movie, which is of course based on the book Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, and this review might be a little bit different from my normal view because this is the first time in a long time that I have been able to read the book before seeing the movie. I kicked it into gear to read this in about 36 hours, did film it for you guys. One of the major pros, I think, in terms of just sheer film elements with this film is the color grading. The marsh is where Kaya is from. It is her home. It's where a majority of the book and movie take place, and some of her most defining moments as a character take place in the marsh. And so we need to understand how we're supposed to view the marsh, because especially with this taking place with a murder trial, we need to know if the marsh is something that is safe or not. And the color grading of the marsh is this very warm, homey, loving, cozy color grading. Like, think of Little Women in the past, Greta Gerwig's Little Women, when they're in the childhood timeline, how warm that feels. That's exactly how the marsh feels. And this subconsciously puts you in Kaya's point of view, because of course in the book it's told from her perspective of the marsh, so you understand that she feels safe and enjoys the beauties of the marsh, whereas in the film, that is something that was necessary, and that's a beautiful part about film. You don't need that exposition to tell it to you. You can feel it with the visuals on screen. The score is hauntingly beautiful and kind of pairs well with those visuals, because you definitely get the sense that there is mystery, but also beauty. And then of course there's Taylor Swift's Carolina song, which was written and released for this film specifically. But the best part of all of that is that the riff and melody from Carolina is kind of inserted into the score. I will say that there is one scene in the film that has a little bit of poor green screen. It's not gonna like kill you, it's not gonna take you out of the moment, but it was something I noticed, so I guess to be a fair critic, I'll put it here. The main things I want to talk about today though are the pros and cons for adapting this specific book into a movie. There's a big restructuring of the story that happens, which I consider a pro, because there's certain things that happen in the book that are just elongated because the book is nearly 400 pages. And so one of the big restructuring things that happens in the film that I was personally really a fan of is there is a character in the book who publishes their own books at a certain point. And in the books, it's kind of like a choice that the character just makes at a certain point. It's not a motivated act. However, in a film, when you have a protagonist, they kind of need to be driving the story forward, or when things happen to them that set them back from their goals, they need to do something to be an active part of the story. And in this film, the character finds out that she needs to pay for something, and that is the reason that she publishes her books. Clever, because you stick to the story that was there. However, you just structure it in a way that makes the main character of the movie more active, which is something I really enjoyed. I think that this casting did a fantastic job of really establishing the characters, who they're like, and their personalities really well. There's also a little bit of inner monologue that's transferred well, which I definitely sometimes don't love. However, in this film, it kind of was overlaid with shots of the marsh that kind of felt like this like omnipotent like perspective on everything, like kind of you're seeing the whole marsh in a drone shot. And so when you get her inner monologue through voiceover in those scenes, I think it fits really well, and it definitely does give you the same feeling that's in the book. So as much as I in other films may not like that choice, in this it worked really well. I also really like the fact that the way that this film was produced, or choices were made for kind of more insignificant, smaller parts of the story to still be included in the film without having to be fleshed out, if you will. So there's a couple of characters in the book that are introduced that in the movie are still placed where they're supposed to be in the book. It's just not given as much meaning as it is in the book. So even though it's not addressed, you like the fact that they took enough care to put those characters there. It's not like those characters are just written out of the story or they're not where they're supposed to be. I think there's just a level of detail that the filmmakers understood couldn't be in the film, but they wanted to pay homage to how important that is in the book. And so you're not going to be disappointed with anything being missing as someone who's read the book first. Lastly, I want to go into the cons of this adaptation just so that I'm being fair, because not everything is perfect. For me, it really simplifies the murder trial, which in the book is like almost the entire last 100 pages. But in the movie, I don't feel like they did a good enough job of, let's say, preparing you for the ultimate decision of the trial. Again, I'm trying really hard not to spoil it because the ending is so top-notch in the book, and I don't think it's just done as well in the film, partially because of, let's say, the major twist of this book. It happens literally on the last page in the last 2 paragraphs of the book, whereas in the movie, it happens like maybe a minute or 2 from the end, and there's just a little too much time to sit with it and a little bit of a wrong, in my opinion, handling of the facial expression of a discovery of a character. That's all we're gonna say. And to me, that signals you to have the wrong feeling leaving the theater, whereas in the book it didn't. And I also think that's partially changed because of the way that Kaya is portrayed in the evidence that's given in the trial. I just think it's done better in the book to leave a lot more confusion and doubt in your mind until that very last page. Whereas in the film, I feel like you as an audience are more certain of one way or another. And then when certain things come to pass, you don't have that same reaction that you do in the book. There is a very visual part of this story that is not in the book or in the movie. And I expected it to be in the movie to give us a extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile type ending. I thought that there was going to be a reveal type ending like that was going to visually show us a glimpse of what was actually happening the whole story, because that reveal is an important piece of the story. However, that didn't happen. I felt like that was a missed opportunity. With all of that being said, I really loved this movie. I really want to emphasize that I think fans of the book are not going to be disappointed in any sort of way. I just think you should go in being prepared for a slightly different experience than you did the book. Please let me know in the comments down below what your expectations for this film are. If you've read the book, I want to know your thoughts on it. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. I really do appreciate it. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and please consider hitting the subscribe button because that would really help my channel out. Have an absolutely amazing day or night whenever you're going to watch this video, and I will see you all in my very next one. Bye, y'all.